Hey guys, it's Nabil. How you fix battery terminals if you got them disconnected or cut off or tracing where each cable is going to in the vehicle. And let's go ahead and get started here. So we've got a 2001 Honda Accord. This is an EX trim. Doesn't really matter as long as it's as long as it's got a battery on the front here and it's located in the hood compartment rather than the trunk. If we're talking in the trunk, it's going to be different, just like it is in the Beamers and other luxury cars. But if the battery is in the front, this is going to apply on most cars out there. So we got this car, and the way we got it, all these three cables are cut off. This one, and this one, and that one. So you got 1, 2, 3. It looks like someone sold this vehicle or whatever, someone else bought it, and they decided to take the battery. And they took the battery, of course, but they, just to save them some time and hassle, they decided to cut off the wires and just remove the battery that way, rather than just unhooking the terminals on the battery. And this was probably much easier for them to do. So I'm telling you, some people out there. Anyways, so what do you do in this situation? First thing you want to do is you want to before I get to what you want to do, I want to make sure that I mention this video actually is going to be suited and good reference to those that trying to fix cables, trying to trace cables where they connected to, trying to figure out how to connect battery cables, what to do. I mean, it's going to apply to a lot of scenarios related to a battery terminals and, hooking up the battery itself. So we've got these three cables. We don't know where they connected to. Well, I do, but I want to show you where they are. So it's easy to trace on this vehicle. It might be a little harder on other vehicles, but at the end, it's not impossible. Okay, remember that. Nothing is impossible out there unless you make it seem impossible and unless you think it is impossible. So, it's got these two cables here, and we got this. So I'm going to remove this out of the way, and let's start with tracing these cables here. So we got our flashlight, and this one is fairly easy to trace. You see it's going down, and it's connected to the transmission right there. See, right there. So so that greenish, that looks like it's got some corrosion buildup. You can see that it's connected there, and then it comes back here, and then this is the first cable. The second one, so you're always going to have one connected to either the engine or transmission or the frame, which is called ground. This is ground connection. The second connection here, if we trace that, it's going to the starter. And let's see. So that is going to the starter. And it's actually going to the starter solenoid. So this is it here. As you guys can see, trace it down there, it's coming there, and then it's coming up there, and this is it. So this is going to always be a positive that's going to that solenoid, and then there's another one that's going to be a ground to the solenoid as well, but the one that's in most cases going to be kind of bigger. This one that's going to the solenoid from this end is the positive. And then the third one, which is this one here, if we trace that, it's going, so it's this one right there. We open the fuse box. This is it right here. Okay, and that is the positive to the fuse box. So we know where these cables are going to. So there's so many ways to fix this issue, okay? You can either rerun the cables, okay? You can buy them new, rerun them, however you want to do it. You can use Splice repair kit, a battery cable splice repair kit, and I'll show you that in a second. Or you can just connect them with, either like some kind of connector, a battery connector, whatever. But since these are coming kind of short, we need something long enough to reach the battery. The battery is going to sit about this height, and this is not going to reach, so we need some kind of extension. So what I did, I thought about this different ways. You gotta really think about this from different views. I looked at the cable underneath there, and I saw some corrosion there. So I figured, you know what, it's just not worth, dealing with and trying to fix. I'm gonna just replace this cable here. Actually, not this one. I'm sorry. It was this one right here, the ground. So I went ahead and bought this right here, a battery cable. And I actually got the receipt too, and it was just $8. So I went ahead and bought this. Connect this to the transmission, and this goes to the negative battery. I figured if I buy just the wire, I'm still gonna have to buy the terminal itself to the battery. But this comes in one piece. I figured, you know what, I'm gonna just replace the whole thing. I'm probably not gonna use this small one, but I'll just leave it either hanging or I'll just cut it off. So that's the first kit that I bought. And then for this one, I figured, okay, maybe we can get the Splice kit. This seems to be long enough, but it also needs to connect to the same wire, to the same terminal. So is there a way you can connect both of them together? Yes, there is. And that's when you get the Splice kit. That's what it looks like. Let me go ahead and open this up for you folks. And that's what it looks like. It comes just like that. So how does this work? This goes here. This one goes there. So both of them, forget about the small one. We don't need it at this point. And this connects to the battery. We probably can make this work. Okay. So Splice kit to connect both of these to the positive. New cable to the negative. That's run into the ground, to the transmission. In other cases, by the way, it might be connected to the, as I mentioned, to the frame, engine, whatever. But in our case, it's to the transmission. and then use these two cables. So let's go ahead and get our gloves. My favorite color gloves. Green. These are still usable. I'll go ahead and get my gloves. All right. And let's go ahead and get it started. So the first thing we're going to start with is using, this is the first cable here, the ground one, using something like flat screwdriver here. And removing this clip here so we can get the cable out. Alright, this is out. Now we need to remove this bolt right there. Let me just get some more lights for you guys. Need to remove this bolt right here. And it looks like it is size 10. Let's get an extension. Alright, so I got an extension. That's my bolt. And this is my cable. I'm going to pull it and I'm going to move my camera here and show you the details of that cable. So as you can see, it's corroded. As I start bending this, it starts cracking and changing color. It's just not worth it at this point. And this is cut off. Not worth dealing with, you know, reconnecting it and this and that. I'll just replace the whole cable. So, I did get a new cable, as I mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this clip, put it on the new one, and put the new one in. So I'm going to set my camera back. And I'm going to start making my way from the bottom up. So first thing we're going to do is get the cable. And I'm going to go ahead and connect this cable. Run this cable. I'm going to go ahead and run this cable from underneath. That's where it needs to go. It did come with a new bolt. I personally don't like the length of this bolt. I don't think it's going to fit there, so I'm going to use the old one. Okay. Now, one thing I could do is, see, I can see some build up here that I can actually, just to make sure that it's got better connection, I'm going to actually try to clean that up with a brush. Let me get a brush and clean it up a little bit. I got something like this here. It's a brush, metal brush, okay, that I can use this on. So I'm going to just clean this up, make sure it's got good contacts from all the rust and debris and all that stuff build up. See how it's nice and shiny now? All right. Now let's get our cable set up here, and we'll go ahead and get the bolt. So, twist this a little bit. Put the bolt first in, just to make it easier. So, bolt is in. And let's see if I can All right. Actually, I don't want this cable to be straight that way. I want it to be kind of tucked in the back here. So it's away from the heat and it's away from the engine heat and transmission. So I'm going to move it out of the way a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this in. Okay, that's good. Now, action is up there, you know. Now, we're going to see if we can take this off and connect it to the old cable here. Let's see what we can do. Alright, let me just use my screwdriver. All right. Since this here, one piece, and it's not open from any side, I can either use a razor to open it up and put it on the cable. So let me just, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So since this is all in one piece, and it's not cut all the way to throw it on the cable, I'm gonna just run a quick cut all the way through here so we can attach it to the new cable. So just pretty much just run through it. Yeah, just like that. That's all I have to do. So you see now we can go ahead and put it in this cable here. And I'll show you what I mean. And that's all you have to do. I like to use original stuff. I don't like to throw stuff away. I mean, I could have just run it without this, but the clip that comes with it is bigger in size, and it'll be just too thin for this cable to use, and it's going to be wiggly. And this makes it look nicer. So that's what it looks like now. And let me go ahead and get my clip. Okay, so this is my clip, and this is my wire. All right. See if I can stick my camera somewhere here. All right, see, this is the area we're going to be working at. So, so this is the area that we're going to be working at here. So I put the clip right here, and I'm going to actually click it. So it's in place, and I'm gonna actually drop this down. See how it slides easily now, and put this back where it was. Yeah, you just kind of slide it in. Have to slide this in. So, right there, yep, slide this in. And then push it in a little bit. Okay, it's looking good. Push it in a little bit, make sure it's in place. Okay, that's it. So now we got this. Look how easy this slides in and out now. See, we got plenty of space. We got some extra. And I'll throw this on the negative side of the battery. Now we still have these two cables to work with, and I'll show you that in a second. So guys, I'm back. So we got these two wires here that we need to use the Splice repair kit on. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I have enough wires here that I can attach the Splice kit to. So I can either use something like this, a razor, and cut through here, or I can use my wire cutter and just go with however much that I need. And let's see, this much, just mark it, or I cut it with. But in this case, it's just probably easier to just use this here. So I'm going to cut this much here. Don't go too deep so you don't start cutting these wires. I like the battery cables to stay same thickness as original. It's designed that way for a reason. So let's see if I can cut through this. All right, this is good. Do the same thing from this side. There you go. And we get the last piece on this side here. Again, you can use a wire cutter or something like this here. A razor would do it. So this is the splice kit that we bought. One is going to go on this end, and the other one is going to go on this other end. So, so one thing I was going to show you is there is a screw inside here that you can tie it from the side with a, looks like a star, or this came with it here. Yeah, it looks like it's a hex wrench. So unbolt this here until it's flat. You can see it goes through here. So this is good here. So again, one end is gonna go right here and the other end is gonna go on the other side. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other one. Get my wrench, unscrew this until it's flat from the inside. It looks like this is good. So when you're putting this in, notice how this screw, the bolt from the left side, and that's how I want it to be. I want this to sit on the battery this way, not this way. See this little edge here? This is always going to be against the battery terminal on the battery, so it's going to sit this way on the top of the battery. So let's connect the first cable. Actually, before I connect the first one, I'm going to just do the same thing that I did with this wire. And just set my camera here. So I'm going to set this aside for now. This one is done. I'm going to work on this other end. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other wire. Let's see if we can use these are pretty thick cables. Be careful you don't cut yourself. All right, this is good. So we got both of them are ready to go now. So now I'm gonna just move some of these tools out of the way. Got enough lights for the camera, that's good. Now let's use our splice kit. So as we agreed, this is gonna go like that on the top of the battery. So the first one is gonna go this way. Now this wire is too thick for this hole. So in this option, we got a couple of things we could do. We can either drill out this to make it a little bigger, or we can cut down some of this wiring here. I'm not gonna drill this just because the screw, I don't want to ruin the threads. I'm gonna just make this wire a little smaller. So this fits in perfectly. This is just way too big. So let's cut down on these wires. I'm going to use something like this here, a cutter, and let's see if we can cut down some of this. Let's see if we can cut down this much here. And I'll clean that up after we're done here with the air blower or vacuum or something. Let's see now if this is good enough here. I think we need to do a little more, but let's try. A little more. All right. The way that I put this in, as I'm putting this in the hole, I'm twisting just to make it easier to get all the wires in. Just like that, guys. So this is in all the way. It's pretty good length. And now, let's go ahead and tighten this in with our hex wrench. All right, very good. Looks very good here. So it goes in and it covers that. See how nice this looks? Can't even tell. It's pretty good. Good contacts. So this side is done. Now we're gonna do the other side. Make sure it goes all the way in. All right, very good. So if we compare the length, but in our scenario, this rubber actually goes in a little deeper because it's thin enough. So we're gonna get it in past the rubber. Right there. So use our hex wrench here. All right, now let's look at the work we've done. Look how nice this looks. Wow. Looks very clean. Very clean, yes. You don't see a lot of mess. You don't see the connections. So this is gonna sit on the positive side of the battery, and this is gonna sit on the negative side of the battery. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the battery and put it in place. Oh, wait a second. You guys remember that screw that I mentioned? This right here. These are for the terminals, not for the ground. So one goes on this end, and the other one goes on the other end. Just like that. Okay. So, let's get the battery in, and I'll show you guys how everything looks like after we're done. Okay guys, I'm back. We got a new battery, and as I was checking things out to make sure everything looks good and installed correctly, I've noticed one more cutoff wire that I missed that's coming from the frame. And those who stuck around till the end of this video will know that though I still have mentioned earlier in the beginning of my recording that the ground is always going to be connected to the engine or transmission or the frame. Now I did miss that one. This one here is cut off, and so I went ahead and bought me an extension. I'm going to go ahead and put it in, connect it to the negative. And one thing I did notice is at the local shop here, by the way, this is the part number in case you guys are looking for something similar. This is looks like it's a 19-inch. It's too long, but I'm gonna, let's see. I'm gonna actually put one end here and then tuck the rest of the wire behind underneath here, and then cut this off and then connect the other one. As long as it's connected, it should be fine. As long as it has a contact to the negative, it should be fine. So let's get my eraser here. Yeah, it's a little long, but it shouldn't really be a big deal. And I'm gonna get my size 10. Take this off. Let's see if I can set my camera here. So yeah, this is the piece here. So one end, so this has two ends. One end we're gonna go this way. Okay, this is good. And then we couldn't find anything that goes on top of this terminal here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna connect it just like that. And just see if I can get the camera. So I'm gonna connect this on the negative, and it goes just on the top of this. There you go, on the top of this. So rather than just cutting it, I think it fits perfectly. So this goes on the top here. Just because this is brand new here, it's takes a little bit to, actually let me just flip it and see if it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to go one direction than the other, and yeah, I was right. So that's perfect. Okay. I'm gonna put this right there. Put this back in here. I can't remember. This looks like it's a 12, and this looks like it's a 10. I get my size 12. Oh, it's size 13. Okay. This is good. I'm going to put my positive. And this positive is size 10. Good contact. I'm going to tuck this in here since it's not needed. And I'll do the same thing with the positive. And we're done, folks. This wire, the negative, this goes to the negative on the transmission, positive to the starter and to the fuse box. Hey guys, with that, it's a wrap. I've wrapped my video up, and I just want to say thank you for watching, and thanks for sticking around till the end of this kind of lengthy video here, but I wanted to show all the details of rewiring and cables that I have used. I do appreciate your time, and please subscribe and add any feedback or comments, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good day if it's daylight, and have a good night if it's evening.